guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today, Mark Ellis.
Welcome, one and all, to the greatest movie news show in the entire galaxy, Collider Movie Talk. It's definitely fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and we are so excited you guys are here for all the cool news stories we have today.
Also here, Jon Schnepp.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I got my brand new Haters shirt. What's up?
Also here, Steve Frosty Weintraub.
Thank you for having me back.
We are very happy to be joined by the editor-in-chief of Collider.com, and you have a great Star Wars shirt on. Schnepp, you have a shirt that it appears to be a Slayer knockoff. Why does it say haters?
It was a late Christmas gift from a friend of mine who also was an editor with me on my documentary, and so I got it, and I was like, it's perfect.
Okay, well, I would like to point out it's March 24th, so 3 months under the gun. You got that Christmas gift in.
That's right.
Ashley, what is our first story today?
As we ready for the debut of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Warner Brothers and Entertainment Weekly released a new image that showcases Gal Gadot and her Amazon warriors that include her mother, Hippolyta, played by Connie Nielsen, and her military aunts, Robin Wright and Lisa Levin-Kongsley. This comes after a survey was released by Fandango saying audiences are actually more excited by the prospect of seeing Wonder Woman. 88% of fans surveyed are excited to see the Amazon warrior, played by Gadot, finally realized on screen. Of the survey, 82% saw Man of Steel, 66% are fans of director Zack Snyder, and 61% said they would see Batman vs. Superman more than once. The movie is currently at 98% with fans as a must-see. Mark, what do you think of the new image and of fans wanting to see Wonder Woman the most?
Well, I think the image that we just showed is not the new image from Entertainment Weekly that we're excited to talk about, although that was a very nice-looking graphic. You can go to Collider.com, right, Frosty, right now, and you can check out, it's a picture of, you have an image of Wonder Woman, and then you have the three other women around her, and they all look badass and ready to go in some very distant-looking place. So I thought the first image, or it's not the first image, but to see these new characters for the first time, I thought it was very well done, and it comes on the heels, like Ashley said, of this poll where everybody is excited to see Wonder Woman in this movie. So before we talk about that poll, because there's some interesting tidbits in there, I would just want to talk about the picture that we did get a chance to take a look at for the very first time. Frosty, what was your take on that?
I think it looks great, and everyone I've spoken to that's involved in the making of Wonder Woman has been speaking so highly of her and of the script and of the movie that this image just reinforces what I'm hearing, which is how good that movie is going to be.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, it was cool to see all four of those Amazons in armor. I mean, like, you haven't seen it yet because we haven't put it up, but go to Collider.com, I guess, and check it out. I don't know where the picture is, but when you see it, you'll be freaked out, especially if you dig Wonder Woman. You're going to see the lady who played her mom, Robin Wright. She's playing, don't quote me on how you say it.
I think she plays the aunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Robin Wright's the, Connie Nielsen from Friday Night Lights and that other show is playing her mom.
Now, I want to say it's Hippolyta, but I don't know. It's not Hippolyta or Hippolyta. I don't know my Greek too well, but, figure it out. There's a lot of other names that I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce.
We were all joking at the pre-meeting, and, Ashley and Schnepp were talking about how you don't want to just go ahead and assume that a woman's name is Hippo something.
I thought it was Hippolyta.
I would go with Hippolyta, too. I mean,
then I would say hungry Hippolyta if you were going to say that, because that's not the way to say it.
I think that would be making the issue worse, and that your friends would never give you Christmas gifts, regardless of what day of the year
I'd say bring on them haters is what I'd say. What's up? So anyway, I think that I cannot wait to see Wonder Woman. I thought Batman v Superman, one of the things that it did right was introducing, even though it was vague booked and like motivational, didn't know where she came from, she's getting on a plane, where's she going, who is she, mysterious, but I thought her as Wonder Woman, when she finally pops up, she shows up because Warner Brothers did a great job of spoiling that in trailers from like 7 months ago. But so we know she's in the movie, but when she actually does show up...
I don't think you can blame Warner Brothers for spoiling Wonder Woman being in the movie. She's a huge part of the marketing campaign.
What I'm saying, actually what I am saying is them spoiling it by, it's called Batman v Superman, and then they show Batman, is she with you? I thought she was with you. Oh, they're chums, and they're with Wonder Woman. That's what I'm talking about. Stupidity at its maximum, most amazing density. publicity right there.
I
think that person cut the trailers
understand
out.
the complaint, but I am going to point out this poll that Ashley brought up where you have 88% of people are excited to see Wonder Woman.
Here it
There's
is.
the picture.
Whoa.
There's the picture. 88. Screw that. Now it's 100% of people got to be excited by this new image that now we have here at Movie Talk, because we may be a little bit late, but we never mess up.
Can
the
it go
story.
full frame? Can the kids at home see a big picture?
Dude,
You're asking too much. You're asking too much.
You just keep wanting more. They see the picture, so that's Wonder Woman right there. I feel like a weatherman. Okay, so that's Wonder Woman right there. All right, and then
this one?
Hippolyta is going to be in the picture too.
Who's this?
That is not Connie Nielsen nor Robin Wright. That's Lisa Loven Herfer. And I'm getting the names.
Story
You
of
know,
my
it's a movie's coming out, and then not tomorrow. So.
It's a cool picture.
We have some time to get ready for this, but that picture, Frosty, you bring up a great point, is that everything that we, albeit the slim things we have seen, teasing this movie so far, it seems to be like they're making all the right plays. You go all the way back to when Gal Gadot was first cast as Wonder Woman, and everybody's like, we haven't really seen her prove herself on stage. I mean,
right.
Her turn in Furious 6 isn't going to make me say, oh, no, that's got to be Wonder Woman. But so far, and I'll include my review of Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice, which is also in the title of the movie, is that I thought she was really well used, and she gave a very good performance as Wonder Woman. 88% of people want to see her in the movie, which is more than Batman or Superman. So you can talk about how maybe the trailers gave away too much. But them showing Wonder Woman seemed to be them wanting to appeal to a wider demographic, or at least a different demographic.
Definitely.
It looks like they hit the nail on the head, right?
They had no choice. I mean, this is a movie that you have to get women in the theater, and having a strong female protagonist resonates with so many people, myself included. And I think after everyone sees the movie this weekend, I think we're all going to agree she was perfectly cast. She's great in the movie. She kicks so much ass.
Yeah.
And she's one of the highlights of the film.
People are going to be cheering when she shows up. I mean, it's a really great introduction. And I thought Gal Gadot was amazing as Wonder Woman and as Princess Diana. I thought she was a perfect choice.
It's so funny to hear you say Princess Diana. I was like, wait, she didn't play. Oh, yeah, that's
Right.
that's also
They didn't really
the other
call
name
her that in the movie.
There in the movie. So there's the poll. I mean, look, you have 88% of people want to see Wonder Woman. 82% saw Man of Steel. 66 are fans of Zack Snyder, and 61% said they would see Batman and Superman more than once. And it's a 98% with fans. Now, look, a lot of it has been made about the Rotten Tomatoes score. That's not where you would want it. But keep in mind, the fans really are excited to see this movie, and I don't want my review, not anybody's take on Batman v Superman, to dampen your dreams of going into this movie and loving it. It comes out tonight for the very first time for everybody to see. So we all say, hey, go to a theater and enjoy the hell out of this event film. And now we get Wonder Woman pictures, which
And
is
if
just an added
you could
bonus.
see it in IMAX, because there are several sequences that are in full IMAX, and they're astonishingly amazing to watch.
I fully agree. The IMAX stuff in Batman Superman is like on the level of Dark Knight Rises. It's jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
It's a very nice presentation. Have fun at the movies this weekend. Before you go to there, we have a cool story about a movie coming out next year. What is it, Ashley?
Warner Brothers has released the first trailer for the Lego Batman movie, the animated movie that follows the adventures of the Caped Crusader from the Lego movie. Will Arnett is back voicing the character for director Chris McKay with a script from Seth Grahame-Smith. Lego Batman centers on the life of Batman, who lives alone with his butler Alfred, questioning his existence. Batman's life is suddenly turned upside down when Robin and Batgirl appear in his world. The movie stars the voices of Michael Cera as Robin, Rosario Dawson as Batgirl/Barbara Gordon, Ray Fiennes as Alfred, and Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. The Lego Batman movie arrives on February 10, 2017. Schnepp, thoughts on Lego Batman's first trailer?
Well, me and Ellis just did a trailer reaction. We watched. We were both laughing. It's hilarious. It's really well done. You get to check out a beatbox Batman. Watch him like watching a microwave, which we've all done. Type in the wrong amount of the minutes. Oh, wait a second. It's just everything about it made me laugh. I've said this before. An old pal of mine from Chicago, Chris McKay, has stepped up from being the animation director on the Lego movie to rocking it as the solo director for this Lego Batman. I'm super proud of him. And now to see this teaser trailer, and it's making me laugh. I cannot wait to see this. I loved it.
Frosty?
A little bit of info that I don't think a lot of people realize. Warner Brothers is releasing 2 teasers, one of which is going to be dropping in a few days. So I think there could be another teaser coming on Monday, or what's today, Thursday?
Today is Thursday.
I'm going to say it's Monday, that there's another teaser. listen, I think the teaser trailer looks great, and I agree with everything you said about Chris, and I can't wait for this movie. Saying that, I am completely against them dropping this trailer today. I think it was a huge blunder, and I don't like to criticize Warner Brothers marketing, but why the F are you dropping a new Batman trailer on the weekend of Batman Superman? It's a completely different tone. It's a completely different take on the character. It should be released in a month after Batman Superman has been in the theater and has gone. I totally disagree with dropping this trailer now.
Well, it's an interesting viewpoint to take because like you do want to capitalize on everybody being Batman and Superman crazy right now. So I understand why you'd want to put it out there in the consciousness that don't worry, there's another Batman movie that's a very, very different tone coming out next year. And it's not like you're running a trailer for Ben Affleck's The Batman. You know, it's like it's Lego Batman. We can have a little bit of fun and laugh at something before we go see this very dark and serious movie, which I think, which is one of the reasons why I like this trailer so much. Is the tone of Batman. It takes the dark and brooding nature of Batman and it puts it on his ear a little bit because you can't be dark and brooding and serious for 24 hours out of the day. There's got to be a little bit of time when you're just humming, talking to yourself, making a microwave dinner, and just thinking about the rest of your life.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that a lot of the grievances people have with Batman Superman is the dark nature. And at the studio level, you're releasing a trailer for a fun, Marvel-esque version of your character that you're doing dark and brooding. So, I mean, like, I get it, and I'm agreeing, like, listen, I'm so excited for the Lego Batman movie. I just think it's a bad idea to release it this weekend. I think it would have been better served to save for another month.
They should have just released the Wonder Woman teaser.
Well, you know, as a fan of the Lego movie, I think that it's nice to see it just for me personally because I can balance it out in my head. Like, oh, I'm going to go see this dark movie, but I like to have a little bit of fun watching and laughing at this. You know, what's interesting, though, is that what they could have done, and maybe they'll still do this, is hold that trailer or release a new trailer during one of these big Marvel productions that's going on later this year to kind of just, you know, just be a little thorn in the side. Like, imagine seeing Civil War, but then knowing that Batman v Superman, or the Lego Batman movie is coming out, or maybe they try to drop it online right when like a Doctor Strange teaser comes out too, just to balance that out a little bit. So it's an interesting marketing play. The movie doesn't come out until February of next year. So you get it into the minds of everybody that this is not the only Batman movie that's going to be coming out for a while. We got a new one coming around and it's a very different tone. Like Schnepp alluded to, our reaction/review is going to be live on Collider Video's YouTube channel a little bit later on today. And Batman is really good at beatboxing in this. You know who else is awesome? This gentleman sitting to my right. Jon Schnepp knows how to beatbox. Is that back from your days with Chris McKay in Chicago?
Yeah, even earlier when I was in college, I was in a beatbox band. I used to rap and stuff. So
Really?
Yeah. I didn't do any of that weird stuff that Campia did, like spinning around and shave my head or whatever, but yeah, I could rap.
Who else are you guys excited for in this movie while we're talking about the subject? Because, I mean, you have all these other...
Zach Galifianakis as the Joker is unbelievably awesome casting. I think I cannot wait to see what he came up with, what the script had him say, and what he spitballed and made up on his own, because he's amazing as just a riff master. He's funny. If you haven't seen Baskets, I know I promote every time I mention Zach Galifianakis because I want everyone to experience that weird show. It's amazing.
I kind of love Michael Cera as Robin. You know, he's just... Michael Cera's usually just kind of like sheepish and nebbish and not really, you know, very passive aggressive.
Come on, Batman.
I love that idea of Robin being that subservient to Batman.
Listen, I think that I'm confident that this movie is going to be the real deal just because the Lego movie is so good.
Right.
And that, you know, a lot of the executives are doing this film, and Chris McKay's doing it, and he was involved in that. I'm very confident that this is going to deliver.
All right. Well, that does it for our main topics today. Now it's time for the part of the show we call Buy or Sell. Ashley is going to present us gentlemen with a topic, and we're going to say whether we buy it or sell it. What's coming up first?
Iron Man 3 director Shane Black was recently interviewed by the website Thrillist about his next movie, The Nice Guys, and inevitably the subject of his Predator movie came up. Black finally confirmed his directing of the movie and explained how he came to the project in the first place. While hesitant at first, Black explained how they won him over, with Fox telling him, What if we said to you, we want to reinvent this and really treat it with as much of an event status or as much hoopla as we would the Alien prequel, which is coming out also. We really want to make this something, the kind of movie that people line up for. Black then confirmed that Fox was willing to spend a bunch of money, making it big with scale and with spectacle. When asked if Arnold Schwarzenegger would be back, Black said that negotiations are currently in process and the script itself must remain a secret for the time being. Frosty, buy or sell Black's comments about The Predator?
I'll buy anything that Shane Black is doing. I can't make it any simpler than that. The guy's a genius. Everything I've seen on Nice Guys. Listen, the guy's just amazing. And one Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Just look at his resume, and he's the real deal. And the fact that Fox is willing to give him real money to make an event film with Predator, let him do it. Whatever the hell he wants to do, just let him do it.
That's right. I mean, I see this story. This is a huge buy for me because it's like you're being interviewed about the movie The Nice Guys, which comes out in May. It's a very different tone than a big event movie like apparently what Predator is going to be. And for Shane Black to be so forthcoming and be like, no, yeah, we can talk about this now. It feels more real than it did yesterday because we knew Shane Black was going to be involved with it. He confirms he's going to be directing it. And his excitement over this project is like, this is so cool to see Predator and to see the studio care about this movie. I thought that Predators was a really cool trip down a different take for Predator. I know a lot of people were not fans of it. I thought Adrian Brody was really good. I like seeing the Predators on that planet. But look, if you're going to bring it back to Earth, which is apparently what it looks like this might be doing if you're talking about casting Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it seems like a very, very good idea. My one hesitancy with this, though, is them talking about it like, oh, we're going to make it a huge summer tentpole film, because I think Predator definitely would work like that, but it would also work as a smaller film like what Predators was. Maybe they got scared by that movie, by its performance, but I think either way you go with Predator, you can't really miss unless you bring Gary Busey and Danny Glover back. John, buy or sell?
If Gary Busey and Danny Glover in it, I buy it. No, I'm just kidding. I buy this. But you know what? I'll bring up Predators and why I thought it was okay. I didn't love it because like Aliens had hundreds and hundreds of aliens. Predators. Even the trailer, Adrian Brody had thousands of those red lasers.
Right.
Total lie. Misrepresentation. I'm not even going to swear, but I was going to say something very mean to the people who lied to me, because when I saw the movie, Predators meant a few, like as in 3. Maybe 4 if you count the dude who was strapped up, the one Predator that they were messing with. 3 Predators. They should have just called it a few Predators. Stop lying.
3 Predators and a baby.
It's a lie. I'm not into the lies.
A fistful of Predators.
A fistful of Predators. I would love that title. Shane Black, listen to this, man. Anyway, I'm excited. Like, throw a lot of money at it. Come on. It's a big property. It's a cool thing from the past. Predator and then Predator 2. They kind of screwed up Predators. I think it's a great franchise. Shane Black is the guy to do it. I love everything he's done. You're right. The Nice Guys looks fantastic. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. What was that Gina Davis, Samuel L. Jackson film?
The Long Kiss Goodnight.
The Long Kiss Goodbye.
Goodbye.
It was The Long Kiss Goodnight. Yeah. Fantastic. And he did a great job on Iron Man 3. Screw you if you didn't like Iron Man 3. I thought it was fantastic. Shane Black can do no wrong. So I cannot wait.
All right, new part of the show, sub buy or sell. Would you guys be on board for Schwarzenegger coming back, or do you think it's just time to have him put that in his past?
I think personally that Shane Black just basically confirmed, not just did they had lunch and they both had a sandwich.
He said negotiations.
He said, get to the chopper, son. And Schwarzenegger said, I'll be back. He's back. He's going to play Dutch. Hopefully he's not Dutch ovening anybody, but if he does, it's going to be a Predator. What do you think, Frosty?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. A Dutch oven might be an effective method against a Predator.
What
we
was
don't
Dutch's
know
last name? He's like, my name is Dutch oven. Wouldn't that be
Dutch
weird?
Ovinsky.
Yeah.
I think that listen, if Schwarzenegger's coming back, then they're going to use the real time that took place since the 80s
Totally.
as a plot point. Like maybe, the Predators come back, whatever it's, and they have to recruit him to fight, whatever it is. Listen, I'm just on board with Shane Black. So if he chooses to bring back Arnold, I'm in. If he chooses not to bring back Arnold, I'm in. So whatever he wants to do, I'm sold.
All right, well, Ashley, Shane Black is on the tip of our tongues. Do we have any more stories about him?
Oh, yeah, we've got more with Shane Black. It was back in 2013 when he also signed on to write and direct an adaptation of the 1930s pulp comic series Doc Savage for Sony Pictures. Doc Savage follows his adventures as a physician, surgeon, scientist, inventor, explorer, and even a musician, someone that can do it all. Black wanted to maintain the 1930s setting and embrace the Capra-esque nature to it. Speaking with Thrillist again, Black Black offered an update for the long in development movie. He said, Doc Savage is sort of in the ether now. We're hoping to make it sometime next year. I would very much like to do Doc with a fellow named Dwayne Johnson, if we can make that work. I made a decision that Dwayne is the guy. It's on the back burner while he's busy. Mark, buy or sell a Doc Savage movie with The Rock?
I would totally buy a Doc Savage movie with The Rock, but like he said in the last sentence, it's like the dude is very busy and his calendar keeps getting filled up. Is he going to be doing Baywatch? What's his involvement going to be with DC Comics in the future of their universe? But yeah, on its heel, you see Doc Savage and Shane Black talking about it. I agree with you, Frosty. It's like Shane Black is a guy, he's one of these visionary directors who's able to inject both comedy and action into a lot of the things that he's done in the past. So whether he's talking about Predator, whether he's talking about Doc Savage, I want the guy on as many projects as possible. And The Rock is somebody who I feel like that as well. The Rock has proven to me that he's not only an action star, which they were trying to make him in the early 2000s, he's got so much charisma. He was great. I'm not a wrestling fan, but I loved watching him on the mic when he was just a wrestler. And all of that ability, his persona, has been able to translate so successfully over to the screen. So this would be a huge buy for me. Schnepp?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I would love to see The Rock play Doc Savage, but I wonder if they're going to keep it in the 40s. Like it was developed in the pulp times of, that it was a 40s, just like the Shadow, even 30s maybe. I would like to see it be brought into 2016. I would like to see Doc Savage in the present. If they're going to do it, I'd like to see them revamp it and revitalize it. That's what I'd like to see. What about you, Frosty?
This is the inside info that I've heard about the project. I heard that Shane delivered a script that was very expensive to make at Sony. I believe that's where the project is. I heard it was a period piece that he delivered, and the budget was very high. And one of the reasons why the project didn't move forward is because I guess the studio and Shane disagreed on the money it would take to bring the project to life. Right. And with it being a period piece, I think they were a little frightened. I think that Dwayne Johnson as Doc Savage would be amazing. This goes back to what we just said about Shane Black. Whatever he wants to do, I'm in. I am a little nervous, though, and I think the studio's a little nervous. They look at what John Carter did, being a period piece, being that kind of thing, and it not performing the way that everyone assumed that it would. And people are nervous, and I think the secret to cracking this is taking it more modern day. But I don't know if this ever gets made because of the budget it would take to really make this.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but you mentioned that his version, his script is a period piece. Knowing Shane Black and taking Doc Savage, what he's basically doing is saying, look, we already have our Indiana Jones. His name is Doc Savage, because it's that kind of pulp type of serialized thing. That's where the expense would be, is going back into the 30s and 40s. But man, if you could pull that off and bring in a brand new character that's like Indiana Jones, which is what this character has all those aspects and the abilities to be, I mean, it's worth maybe putting that money in, but maybe trying to, split the difference maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe update it.
But it also comes down to, I think Shane is going to be pulled at a lot of different studios to a lot of different projects. And if Fox, because I do think that the Predator movie is moving forward, and I'd heard that at Sundance. So if he has the reason why you hear Guillermo del Toro attached 8 different things is because even for him or even Spielberg, you never know where the money's going to come from to make your movie. So I think Shane is going where someone is willing to greenlight a film.
I mean, is that the reason why he might be talking about how cool it would be to have The Rock in this film? Because it's probably going to be very hard for it to get made without an A-lister like The Rock? Is it kind of like a smoke signal that you hope that Dwayne Johnson sees that and it's like, oh yeah, I would be interested in a property like that?
Absolutely. But I mean, I also think that what you guys said earlier, Dwayne is literally filming back to back all year. All of this year, he's making movies. He has Rampage. He's doing Baywatch, the Fast 8. So it's like you get to 2017, he's going to have to promote these movies, which means you can't be taking on another, you got to factor that in the marketing. And number 2, he'll be tired. He'll have worked for 12 straight months, and that's a lot. So I don't know. But I would love to see, Dwayne's awesome, charisma to spare, whatever he wants to do.
Very busy schedule, and you got to factor in eating time. That dude has to eat 9,000 calories a day. That guy eats like I sleep. It's amazing. It's not in the gym, kids. I mean, yeah, you got to get in the gym, but you want to get a body like The Rock, you got to eat. Just keep eating and eating and eating. Trust me, it's going to work out just fine. You should probably sell that. But we have one more topic?
We do. A new international trailer has dropped for Captain America Civil War, and in the footage is a new clip featuring Black Widow and Hawkeye facing off during a big cinematic fight. Civil War War finds Steve Rogers leading a newly formed team of Avengers in their continued efforts to safeguard humanity. But after another incident involving the Avengers results in collateral damage, political pressure mounts to install a system of accountability headed by a governing body to oversee and direct the team. The new status quo fractures the Avengers, resulting in two camps, one led by Steve Rogers and the other following Tony Stark. Captain America Civil War opens in U.S. theaters on May 6, 2016. Schnepp, buy or sell the new international trailer for Civil War.
Well, we've decided to really confuse you. We're calling Captain America Civil War codename The Jungle Book. So just, if you see that green little thing, that's what we're talking about, just so to really confuse you.
The sidebar is hammered right
If you're
now.
not confused yet, the sidebar is drunk and in the bathroom vomiting right now. We're just freeballing it as we speak.
The Jungle Book.
What did I think of this brand new International Civil Jungle Book Wars International thing? Well, aside from the, is she with you? I thought she was with you, little Black Widow Renner, slamby slam. It was pretty much the same exact thing, except some really cool Japanese subtitles, which I really wish was in Japanese. I can't speak Japanese, but God damn it, it would be awesome if it was like Shogadura. It was like what any of that, really breathy, dark,
very guttural.
Yeah. Captain America. I can't. That's horrible. I can't do Japanese, but I want to hear it in Japanese. I might have to fly to Japan and hear the subtitle version of this movie.
So who brought the drinks this morning? Was it the sidebar or you? That was a really good impression.
I know. I wish I was drunk right now.
I mean, you did hit the nail on the head, though, before you decided to up your blood alcohol content. Is this trailer, it's nothing new for us with the little exception of that scene between Hawkeye and Black Widow, where it's funny because that was the scene that we saw that at D23. I don't know if you were in the room at D23 when they did that presentation. They showed us about 4 or 5 minutes of footage, which most of which we've seen in the trailer. Now, they didn't show us any Spider-Man, but they showed us that scene. And it was one of the things that made me a little apprehensive. I have total faith in the Russo brothers, everything Marvel's doing. I knew this movie was going to be awesome, but hearing that line, I couldn't help but think, what are the stakes here? Like, what, is this really just a scrimmage? Are we just going to try to give each other some black eyes and then we're going to kiss and make up over political ideology differences? Or are we really taking this out for blood? That's when I was nervous then. After seeing all the other footage I've seen, the other trailers, I have no doubt in my mind that that is a scene that happens and then the war escalates from there. Because Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, they feel very differently about this issue, so we know they're going to be locking horns. And as the camps start choosing their respective sides, it's going to get more and more intense, is my read on it. So it's a huge buy for me. Even though we didn't get a lot of new footage, it's a huge buy because this movie looks great. And like Schnepp said, Japanese characters are awesome. Frosty, your take.
I didn't watch the trailer, and I'm not going to because I'm done watching marketing on a movie that I am going to see multiple times, that I know how great it is because every single person who's been involved in the movie, who's seen the movie, has been like, this movie is unbelievable. So why poison myself with any more footage when I'm going to see it pretty soon, which leads us to, I believe the junket for Civil War is the beginning of April here in LA, and then they're going to take the movie on the road like they do with all their Marvel films. So today's like the 24th?
Today
25th?
is the 24th of March.
So there's a good chance that some of us, me, are seeing it on April 8th or April 9th or April 10th, like really soon. So F any more footage, TV spots, just show me the movie.
Nice.
And they're also showing it at CinemaCon, which is a convention for theater owners, on the 13th. So Marvel is extremely confident in this movie if they're willing to show it in a very public setting to like 1,000 people on the 13th of April, which just tells you this movie is the real deal.
It's weird that you mentioned the 13th of April because me and Ellis are going to be in Las Vegas gambling and drinking literally right next to CinemaCon.
Well,
it's really strange that you mentioned.
We might be in the vicinity. Schnepp and I are going to Vegas. We're taking the sidebar there for his bachelor party.
That's
right before he ties the knot.
Sidebar's going to get messed up.
We are getting that dude high. Okay, that is it for buy or sell. Yeah, the rundown is a little bit differently. Sometimes when we do the show notes, it's early in the day, and then some other things drop, and we want to switch it up a little bit. So the sidebar, God love him to death. He's holding down 3 kids. Okay, he's got some little sidebars running around, so he's doing the best he can with the tools he has for the job. Ashley, I want to talk about opening this week now because there's a big movie opening in theaters, and this segment, as always, is brought to you by our pals at AMC Theatres. For all your latest tickets and showtime info, go to amctheaters.com. We know a lot of you there are probably right now buying your tickets for a little movie called My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I read that wrong. It's actually Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
It is. Fearing the actions of a godlike superhero left unchecked, Gotham City's own formidable, forceful vigilante takes on Metropolis's most revered modern-day savior while the world wrestles with what sort of hero it really needs. And with Batman and Superman at war with one another, a new threat quickly arises, putting mankind in greater danger than it's ever known before. Batman vs. Superman stars Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Jesse Eisenberg, Amy Adams, Jeremy Irons, Lawrence Fishburne, and Holly Hunter.
Oh, man. I mean, you hear that description, and already I just want to get back in the theater and watch this movie again, because while I did not rate it fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, it got close, couldn't quite get there for me. I enjoyed so much of watching this movie, and it's one of those theater experiences I want to get again with the rest of the fans. So I have a busy day today. We're doing Schmoes Know Live is going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. on the Pacific time chart, and then I'm probably going to run right over to the AMC Theatres here in Burbank and watch Batman v Superman with all you guys. So it's a no-brainer, I think, for people of my ilk, for probably you guys as well, that this is a movie you need to see in the theater. You want to see it opening weekend because you don't want any of the stuff spoiled for you. There's a lot of stuff in there. It takes a lot to digest, okay? You need a rock-like metabolism to digest all the things that are going to be happening for that 2.5-hour runtime. But again, this is a celebration of movies. Whatever, I don't care what the critics say. I don't care what the Rotten Tomatoes score says. It's Batman fighting Superman. You're gonna want to check this thing out in theaters. Frosty, tell me you see it differently.
I agree with everything you said. I've seen the movie 3 times.
3 times?
All 3 times in IMAX. There's so much great in this movie. I am not saying to you this is a flawless film. I am not calling it a masterpiece like I did with Man of Steel. But there is the opening of this movie, all the footage in IMAX, the Wonder Woman stuff, everything with Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne. There's a lot to relish and take in. I agree with what you said. It's a very dense film. This is not like go eat popcorn and drink soda. This is like, you got to use your brain. There's a lot going on. And it's also, I'm going to be honest, it's a dark movie. This is not like, a quote unquote feel good, there's a lot going on in this, but I implore you, avoid spoilers and see it in IMAX. Those are my 2 things that I will say.
And you can definitely drink soda and watch popcorn.
Oh yeah, no, totally. But what I'm saying,
that's what I'm going to be doing. I get it's not just a slam bang popcorn action fest.
Yeah, it's not like when you go to the movies and sometimes you'll talking with your friends during the film and just like laughing. Like, this is a pay attention, take it in. There's a lot going on.
You believe the shit coming out of this guy's mouth like that?
It's crazy.
Schnepp, you're up.
You know what? I think it's a deeply flawed film, but it's like a somber behemoth. It's this giant creature that, especially if you see it in IMAX, is a monster, and you're kind of absorbing it. And it is definitely not a Marvel film. I think they went out of their way to say, look, we're this other beast. We're this other creature. And it's got a tone to it that runs throughout the entire film. But there are moments of it that do have that fun that you want, but it's just on a different level. Like I said in some of my other reviews, and we have a spoiler review coming out tomorrow, and we've got a bunch of other things where we're talking about in depth on this film, but I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I liked it. I think it had a lot of great scenes. It also had a lot of scenes that didn't work. And my biggest complaint overall is the script. It's very uneven. And then if I had to go into more details, you just see the film, and we're going to talk about it this weekend. But I can't say don't see the film. I do want to say see the film and make up your own mind. And there are a lot of elements that do help build the DC universe, the DC cinematic universe. But there's a lot of things that really didn't work for me in the film.
I will say, though, I've spoken to a lot of people that loved it, and I've spoken to a lot of people that had issues with it. It's definitely a divisive film, but it's something that absolutely needs to be seen. Like, you have to see this movie.
Yeah.
It's just one of those that everyone's going to talk about.
All right, well, make sure you guys check out an AMC theater near you. Again, the website is amctheaters.com for all of your tickets and showtime info. Have a blast, guys. We can't wait to talk about it with all of you as soon as you get a chance to check it out. Now it's time for Mailbag. Mailbag's a lot of fun, where Ashley's going to read us some letters that you guys wrote us in that email email box. If you want to send in your question, make sure you email us at collidervideo@gmail.com. And we're also going to save some time at the end of the show for your live Twitter questions. You want to get your tweet read on the air, Ashley's the gatekeeper. It is at Collider Video. So before we get to your tweets, let's talk about your letters. Ashley?
Jerry Croshoe writes, "Hi guys, first off, love your show. I listen every day at work. It's one of my highlights in the morning. My question is, despite all the negative reviews prior to its release, can B vs. S be the success it's set out to be? And can you name an example of a movie that got horrible reviews prior to its release but was very successful because of the fan love? Thanks and keep it sweaty."
I love that question because so often we talk about movies that critics love and then it doesn't just really resonate with an audience for whatever reason. Like The English Patient, people are like, I don't understand what's so great about this movie, but it won a bunch of Academy Awards. Now we're turning that on its ear. We're telling the critics to go after themselves, and that everybody who's like us, look, am I technically a critic? Yeah, I'm a fan first. So if I see a critic's review, I'm not going to just be like, oh, okay, I guess I won't see this movie. If I am looking forward to something, I've been burned in the past, I'm going to go see it, and maybe I end up loving it, unlike a lot of other critics. Frosty, you see the question, what's a movie that stands out in your mind that just got lambasted by critics, but the fans dug it?
I don't even know if the fans dug it, but they went out for it. Is the Transformers franchise? I really dig the first movie a lot. I have issues with all of the others. There are parts of all of the others that I enjoy. The 3D sequence in Transformers 3, the last 45 minutes is amazing. But the Transformers movies, critics tear them apart, and a lot of fans tear them apart, but they all make $1 billion.
Schnepp, you're not a fan of the Transformers.
What are you talking about? I love those movies.
I know you
Just
love.
kidding.
I know you love the Transformers. The live-action movies that they're in, maybe not so much. Can you think of a movie that got hate by critics that you yourself ended up being like, "This is great. What's wrong with everybody?"
You mean besides the garbage films called Transformers? Yeah, those films suck. Yet I don't understand how.
Come on, you don't like the first one?
I hate the first one.
That's crazy talk.
Stupid robots, dog peeing on them, hiding behind the building.
You're right.
There's so many embarrassing moments. I can bring up thousands of them. I'm not going to go. But you know what? I will say I liked Transformers 3 because it had Leonard Nimoy basically saying lines from Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, like, we must sacrifice the one. So because he's basically saying Spock stuff on the Chicago Tribune building. So, hey, look, I'm not going to rip on Dark Side of the Moon or whatever. It's a good album. So, you know what? For me, it was Prometheus. I think that movie made enough money to give Ridley Scott the Aliens franchise back. Everybody hated that movie. I actually really liked it. I thought it was great. There are some plot elements that didn't make sense, but once again, that happened because they were cut out a couple of moments from the movie where it was if they just left that scene in, it wouldn't be like, oh, I hate aliens. Then the very next scene, come here, little alien. You're like, what's up with that? What's going on? Because they cut a couple of sequences out.
I got to say real quick, I also am with you. I really dig Prometheus, and I know I'm in the minority.
Yeah, I know I'm in the minority. So
I think comedy is subjective, and it's the most subjective of the film genres because one thing that makes us laugh is not going to make you laugh, and that's just the nature of the beast. But there's been a few that have come out fairly recently, like Step Brothers is one that I think critics just didn't really get. I'm not sure what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. Dumb and Dumber is one. And then there's one that all those Jim Carrey movies, when they came out, critics did not love them, but fans just could not get enough of them, myself included, like Ace Ventura, Liar, Liar. The one that came out that's a comedy/musical it was either 80 or 81 when the Blues Brothers came out. Critics destroyed that movie. And when you watch the movie, it may not be a perfectly made film, but it's one of the most fun rides you can ever have with Belushi and Aykroyd. And critics they gave it so much hate, but people started to come out to the theater and see it.
I don't know who said that, but it is a perfectly made film. No one can rip on the Blues Brothers.
All right, you heard it here first. 4 orange whips for the table.
I think at the beginning of the question, though, the person was asking whether or not the negative reviews are going to affect the box office.
Right. It certainly didn't in the Blues Brothers case, and I don't think that it will.
Specifically about Batman Superman.
I think that with Batman v Superman. No, I want to talk more about Blues Brothers. I think with Batman versus Superman, you know what? I don't know that the negative reviews are going to affect the box office. What I think might is that I don't think fans are going to love this movie. Like, I mean, we heard that people saw it Monday night and they were going crazy and giving it standing ovations and stuff. I don't think that's how the majority of fans are going to react to seeing this movie. So I think the replay value, where if you see something like you go see a huge event movie and you love it, oh, I got to see that right away again. It's not going to have that appeal in my mind. I also think that parents might see it as a little bit too dark for kids who might be going to one of these other movies that has come out recently, like Jurassic World or The Force Awakens, that are a little more kid-friendly. You can take your kid to see again and again. Schnepp, I know that you and I had sky-high box office expectations for this thing, and then yours have been tempered, right?
Yeah, I lowered mine, but mainly it was because of my disappointment with the film. I was like, I think a lot of people want to make up their own minds. And I'm a fan as well as a critic. So it's like, as well as a filmmaker. So it's like, I want everyone to go see this film so that they can enjoy it or hate it or feel weird about it, or, you know, whatever you're going to feel when you see this film. This is Batman and Superman in the same film. And there's so many elements to the film that are great, just as there are horrible elements of the film, as far as I'm concerned. There's other people who are like, you're wrong. This is the most amazing film in the world. That's your opinion. So, you know, I think it's up to you to make your own opinions up. So you have to see the film, and a lot of people are like, they're right. They're like, I don't care what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. I'm going to go see this movie because I want to see it. I want to decide for myself. So we're just going to have to find out and see how it affects the box office. But I don't think it's going to affect, especially this weekend, it won't affect it that much. It's going to make a lot of money. And I think it's going to make a lot of money worldwide. It's going to be, and it's not going to make money because it sucks like the Transformers movie. It's not a horrible film. It's going to make $1 billion. That's what it's going to make.
I'm saying $200 million opening weekend. Do you have a number you want to throw in the hat?
No, I always get this wrong. He's the master of box office.
Well, you know, I might make this one wrong, but I went down to 125. You know?
Oh, this weekend?
Yeah.
No, it makes more than 125.
Yeah, I mean, I was like reading people are saying, oh, it's making 130, 140, but that's my opinion. I think it's probably going to, when it all taps in, be like 125.
No, it's going to do well. I mean, what's interesting about this film in terms of worldwide box office is this is one of the rare films that's going day and date in China. And I don't know if you guys are aware or how much you guys are aware, but China is going to be the #1 box office. It might be right now, but it's this year that they're going to overtake America in terms of box office. And it's really critical that a movie opens there and has, you know, the ability to perform. And it's going to be very interesting what happens with Batman v Superman, because I think you were right. I think that the repeat value on this movie, like with Deadpool, it was very fun. It had a fun tone, and people went and saw it multiple times. I've seen Batman v Superman 3 times. I don't know if I need to see it again. And I am a huge Superman fan. You know, like, I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? And I wonder what's going to happen with the repeat value. And I wonder I really wonder. I do think this weekend, next weekend, for 3 weeks, it's going to do very well. Once Civil War is out, it's done. It's like completely finished. And it's a question of, you know, how much can it make in that time? And what does the average fan say? What's the cinema score on this movie? Forget about the critics. You know, if on Friday night on Twitter and Facebook, the average person is raving about this, it's going to be fine. If the average person is like, oof, don't even bother, it's done.
I can guarantee you that the average person is not going to be raving about this. I can guarantee that. I'm not talking about box office. I'm saying the average person is going to see this movie. It's 2.5 hours. It does not have enough fun scenes in it to make it that kind of thing like Deadpool or any of the Marvel films. It does not have that. It's like this kind of lumbering creature that has a few cool action scenes. Really not well. It's a very horribly written film because none of the characters have any motivation. So it's hard to get.
I disagree with that.
Hard, well, that's my opinion.
No, totally. Like,
it's hard to get. I did not get emotionally invested in the film or care what happened by the end of the film. So, you know, and those people who are like-minded like myself are going. That's the response that you're going to see. So there's going to be people like you who are like, hey, I give it an 85 or a 90, and I'm going to be like, I give it a 65 or 70. It's going to end up being like, probably, my guess is 78, 82, somewhere around that. Probably lower, but, you know, it's not going to be like, it's incredible, 95. It's not going to be there.
I mean, look, if you don't have a Twitter account yet, this is the weekend to do it. Go ahead and get yourself an egg and watch the flurry of activity that's going to happen with everybody talking about B versus S. And thank you guys in the chat room. A lot of you guys are telling us when you're going to see the movie. I'm very curious how many of y'all are actually seeing it tonight, sometime on Thursday, the special sneak previews they always do for big movies like this. Have that in the chat room. And we have one more question in the mailbag.
We do. Ivan Flores writes, certain actors have been remarked by playing themselves in their roles, such as RDJ as Iron Man, Chris Pratt in Anything, etc. Do you think this is easier compared to other actors? And which role is your favorite where the actor practically plays him/herself?
It's hard to say that it's hard for me to say it's easier, but it's also difficult to be like, well, yeah, what Daniel Day-Lewis did in Lincoln is the same thing that Vince Vaughn did in Wedding Crashers. Like, it's hard to see an actor who stays in character for months and months and months versus a guy who we as viewers would presume is like that in real life. So I think that nothing you see on screen in a movie is how the actor actually is in their day-to-day lives. You might see like Good Morning Vietnam. You'd be like, I bet Robin Williams was always like that. I'm sure Robin Williams just like to chill out and relax for a little bit too and not be on all the time. But when I see Vince Vaughn, I feel like that's who that guy is a lot. So he's able to tap into that aspect of his personality a little bit easier than it might be for somebody who, say, is in a period piece or is doing something in outer space or is playing an astronaut. I know Sandra Bullock didn't have any prior training playing an astronaut, so maybe a role like that that she did in Gravity is a little bit harder to play somebody like she did in Speed, where she's driven maybe not a bus before, but she knows how to be exasperated. In Gravity, she needs to keep that stuff in check and convey more stuff with the more simple movements of her face, as opposed to just being scared like Annie was, justifiably so, in the movie Speed. So my answer would be Vince Vaughn's the guy that always stands out to me. How about you, Schnepp?
Jack Nicholson. It's like, especially in his later years, like, you know, he had this 70s run where he's just basically that guy, you know, he's like, you know, it doesn't matter what movie, it's a Cuckoo's Nest, it doesn't matter, Five Easy Pieces, he's Jack Nicholson in that role, and that just became him. Like once we hit the 80s, 90s, 2000, it's Jack Nicholson. So he's the actor for me who kind of got that ball rolling as far as you're hiring him to play, even right down to like they called him the Jack in the Batman movie, it was Jack. His name was Jack. So it's just one of those things where you're sort of like, he's identified as this kind of character actor, but it's also kind of his personality. So you're just supplanting him in different roles. So that's one of my guesses.
Right. And I'd also like to point out, I'm not criticizing Vince Vaughn. I think what he does in movies is fantastic. He's doing what he should be doing. That's why he's so famous. Frosty, how about you?
About Vince Vaughn, I've done like a set visit or two with him, and it's interesting because he's a lot more reserved and quiet in between takes than you would think he is. The person who seems for me to be on screen and off screen very, very similar in a lot of roles is Seth Rogen. I mean, you talk to him and he is Seth Rogen, and on screen he's Seth Rogen. You know, unless he's in Steve Jobs, where he's playing somebody. Right. But you look at a lot of his other roles, and maybe Observe and Report. That's a different version of Seth.
Totally.
Which, by the way, is a phenomenal movie.
It's a really fun film.
It's the best mall cop movie that came out that year.
Totally.
It's a great film. But Seth is someone that it's him on screen.
Right, Jack Black would be another one that comes to mind too.
Totally.
Where like you see him in School of Rock, and you're like, if you put the real Jack Black in a schoolroom with a bunch of kids, he would literally create the same exact band and teach them to play the same exact music, which is part of why I found that movie so endearing and enjoyable, as I hope you guys did too. Okay, it is now time for our live Twitter questions. Here's how it's going to happen. I'm going to ask Ashley for a Twitter question. She's going to give it to us. We have no prior knowledge of anything that's happening. This is a magic trick. Ashley, what's the first tweet?
Ta-da! Henry Grandlid writes, what are your biggest pet peeves that Hollywood gets wrong? Anything from X-Men costumes to historical settings. Stay filthy.
The biggest pet peeves. You seem like you got one right off the bat.
Man, I got one right off the bat. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. First of all, that's all I got.
I thought you were going to list all the reasons
no,
why.
I don't even have to go into it.
I think the title pretty much does you a favor for that. Frosty, you like you said, you do a lot of set visits. You see a lot of movies, sometimes even 3 times. What is it that Hollywood does that just bugs you or rubs you the wrong way in movies?
Shit. That's a tough one. The thing that they do wrong in movies.
I mean, here, I'll give you mine. I'll give you some time to think about this, because the one that I don't know why they keep doing it. I don't know what the accent came from. It sounds vaguely British, but it's the swords and sandals accent that they always use in like ancient Greek and Rome epic movies. It's like you're not, nobody back then sounded like how you're talking. You're just trying to sound different than we do so you can put us in a different time and place. And it makes no sense to me. Maybe they had a faintly British accent, but you know what? They probably weren't speaking English back then either. So
Yeah.
like, why are you taking the time to dress up the English when they weren't speaking English in the first place? It bugs me to know, and I cannot get into movies, and it doesn't help that most of the movies that they make in that time period now just completely suck anyway.
I
So-
love that Harvey Keitel just spoke like he was like a New Yorker in The Last Temptation of Christ. That's one of my favorite things. He's like, Jesus, come, what are we doing here? Can we just go let's get on with it? You know, it's like, it's one of those things like, yeah, I agree when we're just speaking in English, but all of a sudden it's like, listen, if we would just mind to get me some of that bread over there. It's like, what is that?
I was at my grandma's annual Christmas party in New Jersey, right? And we have a lot of family that lives around the Philadelphia area, and we were talking about Silver Linings Playbook the year it came out, and I was talking about how much I loved it. They're like, yeah, it was an okay movie, but man, De Niro's accent bugged me. And I'm like, what's wrong with his accent? They're like, he's clearly a New Yorker, but he's playing somebody from Philly who loves the Eagles. And I'm like, damn, that's specific.
Wow.
But you're right, that guy with that accent should have been wearing a Giants jersey, not an Eagles jersey.
And it's funny you mentioned the accent thing. I've said, I think for years, and it's a real big gripe of mine, why don't more movies do the gimmick that was used in The Hunt for Red October? I think that more movies should start with people speaking in the native language that's being focused on in the film, and then the camera, if you have not seen Hunt for Red October, which is a great action thriller, the camera, McTiernan, zooms in on, I believe, Sean Connery's mouth as it's Russian, and it's on the close-up on his mouth, and then all of a sudden he starts speaking English, and then the camera pulls back. So it's like you understand he's speaking Russian, but you're hearing English. So why don't more movies start like that, where they speak the native language, you zoom in, all of a sudden it's English, and you understand you're hearing English, but it's really the native language.
John McTiernan, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Sure, he went to jail for a little bit, but he makes really good movies. Ashley, what's our next tweet?
RVK Movies writes, buy or sell an Ace Ventura, Austin Powers crossover movie, a Jim Carrey and Mike Myers comeback combo.
Oh my
Damn.
God, I want to buy this.
I'm
so
buying that.
much,
A comeback
but
combo. That's what
can't.
they should call it.
I can't. You're talking about two of my favorite comedic actors of all time, and I just don't want to see them embarrass themselves by doing that. I mean, like, one of the things I always wanted to see a Wayne's World 3, because I thought that Wayne's World 2 was even funnier than the first Wayne's World. And I read an interview with Dana Carvey, and he's like, yeah, but it's just kind of weird to see guys who are 40 years old in real life still put on the wigs and act like those characters. And I was like, you know what, Dana Carvey? That is a great point. And so if... You know, I would say that, like, if those movies were taken seriously and it was like a superhero movie, it'd be cool to see old Ace Ventura and old Austin Powers pass on the torch to a younger generation. But in comedies, it doesn't work like that. Son of the Mask is a great example. We just let those characters be great. I love Jim Carrey and Mike Myers. I think they're going to go on to do stellar work in their careers. I just don't think that they need to revisit Ace Ventura or Austin Powers unless it's in a sketch on Saturday Night Live.
I was
because
gonna
that's
say
funny.
Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary. That Wayne's World. That was some of the funniest stuff on that entire show. Was the Wayne's World stuff.
That's right. And Mike Myers can do Dr. Evil until the day he dies. And I think I would be more up for an Austin Powers revisit with Mike Myers as Austin Powers.
Right.
So I think that character ages a lot better than Ace Ventura would have. But when Jim Carrey hosted SNL a couple years ago, they did a sketch where he was at a reunion with his like family, and it was all his characters from his past coming back to like say hi, and Ace Ventura was in there. It was pretty good.
You know what? Let me just say this. You brought up Mike Myers, Austin Powers. I'd love to see a fourth Austin Powers. Why not have Jim Carrey play the villain? That way you get, maybe he's not playing Ace Ventura, but I like that combo of those two actors. I think they could play off each other great.
He could step into Robert Wagner's shoes and then be like the number one to Dr. Evil. I
Maybe.
could go for
I
that.
don't know.
Huge fan of both actors. I do not want to see another Ace Ventura movie. The character needs to be left alone. I would be okay with another Austin Powers movie. But if the script was really good and it incorporated maybe real time and it was like a baton passing, but I agree with you. I think that the Dumb and Dumber sequel was just awful. I mean, it was really awful, and it was so disappointing. And I think that certain characters just need to be left in the past. Not all films need a sequel.
Dude, you're a guy in the know. Really quick, is Mike Myers working on anything? I mean, we get that question a lot here, and I know Mike Myers produced or maybe even directed a really good documentary about Shep Gordon called Supermensch.
Yep.
But does he have anything in the works as of right now?
I know of nothing that he's working on.
All right. Well, hey, he's got a really good podcast episode of Mark Maron's WTF, so you can check that out in the meantime.
Yeah.
Ashley, let's do two more.
Okay, Carlos Rivera writes, which actor played the creepiest role in a movie?
The creepiest role
Let's
in
see,
a
Vincent
movie.
D'Onofrio in The Cell. That just sprung to mind.
That's really
He
good.
played that creepy weirdo. It's like, you're inside my mind. You
Every
know?
time I hear the creepy in a movie, I just get those banjo strings from Deliverance going. But like a really creepy person in a movie.
Are we going for something like Kathy Bates in Misery, or are we going?
Yeah, why not go
call.
there?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
I mean,
and
Norman
disturbing.
Bates in Psycho.
Sure, Anthony Perkins.
Yeah, that's something to watch. Yeah, there's been a lot of creepers in movies. How about, I mean, I don't know who the actors are, but the dudes with the bags over their head in The Strangers is like as creepy as it gets.
The other thing is, how come in every movie people want to punch Paul Dano in the face?
Yeah,
He plays a lot of interesting
He
people.
plays very punchable people in
Yeah.
movies. Yeah, because very annoying. Like, why is he back? Please get rid of him. He's a great actor, though.
I asked him that during an interview. I said, "Why does everyone want to punch you in the face?" And he started laughing.
No.
But it's true. Watch his movies. People always want to punch him.
It's not how you want your friends to describe you. It's, oh yeah, I know Paul. He's very, very punchable.
Yep. In the faceable.
Let's have one more question.
All right, I love this one. Brian S. writes, do you have any film merchandise that some may find embarrassing? For example, Star Wars bed sheets.
That's not
why'd you look at
embarrassing.
me?
That's cool.
Yeah, I used to joke about that. Yes, I owned a lot of Star Wars bed sheets. I currently own a sleeping bag that is a tauntaun. It's like I got it for Christmas a couple years ago,
Think geek?
and it's like you unzip and it looks like a tauntaun. And then
Don't
you kinda
pretend like you got
sleep
it for Christmas.
in
You
a
bought
tauntaun.
that.
bought
I
it.
might have bought
You
it,
bought it.
bought it myself. Yeah, I have a lot of embarrassing movie merchandise. My favorite one is the one that I earned, man, because I actually decided I wanted to work in movie theater anyway because it seemed like a fun summer job. But the reason why I went in to apply was because I was really asking to get the huge banner that was advertising a movie that I so fell in love with in the summer of 1994 when I was told I was too young to work there so I could come back when I was old enough. But that movie, and I still have that banner up in my room somewhere in Virginia, is of Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target. He had the mullet. He had like the arrow going in. It's like the hunting season opens August 20th.
Awesome.
Oh my God, I still have that banner. And admitting it on air is not as embarrassing as I thought it would
No,
be.
it's
Actually,
not
it feels
embarrassing.
good to let you guys know a little bit of insight into my creepy life.
You're also surrounded by weirdos who have a lot of stuff like that. I had the RoboCop standee from when I worked as an usher. I was like, I'm taking that, and I took it.
That's
I had
good.
it for such a long time, and I left it at like the Shrine Auditorium in like 2002. I was selling a bunch of toys that I had and weird merchandise, and I brought that. No one bought it, and I was like, F it, I'm leaving it here. Totally dumb. I regret that, but yeah, I have a ton of weird stuff. I like all that stuff, so it's not to me. It's enjoyable to buy merchandise and bizarre nostalgia from strange films that I love. Doesn't feel weird at all.
Okay, so Frosty, we have set the bar at Hard Target and RoboCop.
Few things. One, I have a T-shirt from the movie Cyrus. It says, and I still wear it. It says, "Seriously, please don't sleep with my mom." And I wear it, and people are like, "What's this from?" I'm like, "Cyrus,"
And they're like, what the hell is Cyrus?
Yeah, I don't care. I think it's a great, funny shirt. I also worked at a movie theater. I wish theaters still had more banners because I loved banners that hung. It's like a Comic-Con; they still make them, but it's not really the same. One of my pride and joy items that I have, one of my all-time favorite films, if not my favorite film, is Goodfellas. I have the original banner from Goodfellas.
Nice.
And it'll never be sold. It's just, if you know that movie, you understand. It's like the faces. Anyway, it's amazing. But I love that kind of merchandise. But I like, as you guys know, I wear a lot of T-shirts, and I don't mind wearing offensive shirts.
Well, if you try to trade your Goodfellas banner for my Hard Target banner, I'm going to have to say sorry, bud. No dice.
I promise it's not happening.
That does it for this episode of Collider Movie Talk. Thank you guys for joining us. And a friendly reminder, tomorrow is the debut of the movie Trivia Schmodown. John Campea going up against Dan Murrell. It's going to be dropping right here on Collider Video's YouTube channel. They lock horns around 2 p.m. in the PST. Is that correct, Dennis? Around 2 p.m. The PST
hyped.
is so intent on uploading this. He's that excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't wait to bring that experience to you guys. A lot of our friends have been involved in the production of that, so thank you guys for everything. We cannot wait to see John Campea go up against Dan Murrell in the movie Trivia Schmodown. I want to thank everybody behind the scenes and the sidebar for making an appearance. And I would like to thank Frosty, the editor-in-chief of Collider.com, for joining us here today. Where can the kids find you?
I'm on Collider once in a while and on Twitter as Collider Frosty.
Collider Frosty, seen BVS 3 times. Mr. Schnepp?
Well, you can find me in the sidebar. We'll be hanging out at WonderCon. There's the Heroes panel at 7:30, room 152, and then we're going to be at the Lux Hotel on the second floor at 9 o'clock, so you can do a big meetup with all of us there. You can find me on social media. Just follow me at Jon Schnepp on Twitter and Instagram. Support my Kickstarter, Sweaties Unite. Go to the Kickstarter. Become a sweaty.
Sweaties Uniting at the Lux Hotel at 9. I'm going to get over there by 9:30, I promise. Ashley, where can the kids find you?
Hopefully you don't find me drunk on the floor with Sinead rolling around. But you guys can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Thursday, guys.
You hear that sidebar this weekend is your chance.
Craziness.
I should also plug, the sidebar did ask me, you can follow the sidebar on Twitter as Collider Sidebar.
That's right, Collider
so make
Sidebar.
sure to be following.
I cannot wait for Collider Sidebar to have more followers than I do. Make sure you guys, like we reminded you in the beginning of this show and the middle, is that you can check out all the latest tickets and showtimes at amctheaters.com. Like Frosty said, make sure you guys bookmark collider.com for all the latest updates in the world of movies, and subscribe to Collider Video right here to catch Movie Talk, the Movie Trivia Schmodown, and Jedi Council, which I'll be hosting later on today. My name is Mark. Find me online at Mark Ellis Live. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.